Good morning, gorgeous. Good morning, gorgeous. Don't forget to smile. As you look radiant as you are the queen of your Nile. Wake up, beautiful. It's time to spread your wings. Open up your window and hear the songbirds as they sing.
Welcome to Good Morning Gorgeous, your Saturday morning dose of inspiration. I am Sharonda Steele, and
I'm yours truly, Larissa Williams.
once again on this Saturday morning, we have the pleasure of speaking to a powerful woman of God, a mentor to many, and really just an overall phenomenal woman, Ms. Calvonia Radford. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you here on the Good Morning Gorgeous podcast. I have to just say that for so many reasons that we'll get to later if we have time. But to make sure we're keeping up with our time today, I want to just jump right in and just start off having a conversation with you. So first off, for those that do not know who you are, why don't you just begin by telling us a little bit about yourself so that our listeners and viewers will get to know you.
Okay, well, I am from Western Kentucky, a little town called Greenville in Muhlenberg County. Country music lovers will remember the song, Daddy, Won't You Take Me Back to Muhlenberg County? That's where I'm from, the county seat. Reared by my paternal grandparents. And interestingly, my name is Calvonia Louise. My grandfather and father's name is Calvin. My grandmother's middle name was Louise. I think God knew something from the time I was born.
Wow.
We moved here to Central Kentucky when my husband was called to pastor a church here in Nicholasville. We've been here for 31 years. So we are the parents of 3 children, Mario, Cassandra, and Christian. All 3 of them are wonderful, wonderful adults. We're just so proud of their accomplishments and just who they are individually, of their identity. And I like to say now that we have several grandchildren. Like, I can't even put a number on it. I love to go out and walk. I enjoy nature. I enjoy reading, music, and dancing.
I didn't know you enjoyed
Okay, Miss
dancing.
I
Calvonia.
do. In my house, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
I always say I have the best concerts in my car.
Yes, the shower for me.
Yes. And in case anyone out there is wondering while I'm sipping my coffee this morning, we have our Good Morning Gorgeous mugs. They are so beautiful. And these will be made available for purchase this spring. Thank you, Larissa, for making sure we keep up on all of our Good Morning Gorgeous merch. Let me show my shirt again for those that have not seen it before. And we have a lot of other things coming up, Larissa, right?
We do. We're going to be able to, and on the mugs, because I'm left-handed, so I will make sure that we have left and right-handed mugs available. We're also going to have, buttons. I have my little mouse pad I'm using today.
Like that.
We'll also have pillows available. So I'm pretty excited. We're both excited about merchandise that's coming soon this spring.
Yeah. So, and we'll make sure, Miss Calvonia, that we get some stuff over to you too for being here today. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love to help promote Good Morning Gorgeous.
Yes.
Well, I heard you say, and I've just now made a connection. You're the mother of Mario Radford.
Yes.
That's
oh my God. Okay.
I forgot I didn't tell you that.
Yeah, I'm on Good Morning Gorgeous with Mario Radford's mother.
Oh my goodness.
I feel because let me tell you, I know this interview is for, we want to focus on Miss Calvonia. Is that right? Calvonia. But I want to say he did a phenomenal job at the Unity Breakfast.
Thank you.
He was the main speaker. He did a phenomenal job at the Unity Breakfast this year. Yes, he did.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
I
I
get
forgot to mention
introduced
that.
often not by who I am, but by my children. So I'm used to
Ah,
it.
Well, that just attests to how great of a parent you are, right?
that's right.
Thank
That's
you.
Right?
right.
You
That's
know,
right.
We did all right.
you did better than all right. But thank you for being on today, and really just sharing a little bit about you and about your history, and about kind of what you do, what you have going on.
Mhm.
And I'll just jump right in because we've been talking a little bit about mindset. And when I initially reached out to you, it was because you're a cancer survivor.
Mhm.
And I said, hey, I would love for you to come on and kind of just share your experience. And one of the things that you said is, instead of focusing on that so much, I want to talk about kind of our mindsets. And that hit me. I told you that hit me right away because my word for 2023 is mindset.
Wow.
And everything that I'm doing right now, because I always say, change your mind, change your mindset, change your life. And people
Indeed.
don't understand how important that is. So when you said that, I was like, that's confirmation. It was one of those things where I'm like, okay, I know that is the right word I should be
Yeah.
focusing on for this year.
Yeah. God will
But
do
we want,
that.
yes,
He
Yes, he
will.
will.
Yes.
yeah. So I just want to go ahead and why don't we just jump in so we have enough time to have a full conversation on it. And I'll just give you the floor and let you get started, kind of talking to us a little bit, and we'll go from there.
So do you want me to start talking about what I do or?
Well, we could go ahead and just start talking about the everything that you wanted to cover in terms of like mindset, your
Okay.
experience with going through cancer.
Okay.
And then we can rope back around if we need to with the rest of it.
Absolutely. Okay. So last March, well, probably December, I think it was, I had my annual breast screening, my mammogram, and ended up getting a letter saying I needed to go back for a further diagnostic screening, which was my norm. They would always call me back. So, okay, this is the norm. While I was in there, they had me going in and out a couple of times for mammograms, for what do they call it?
Biopsy.
No, when they have to put the little jelly on you and do that. What is that?
Ultrasound.
Ultrasound. Thank you. The word wouldn't come to me. Again, that was my normal track. I would always have to do that. And then at the end, they would come in the little room and they would say, everything looks good, go on your merry way. So that's what my expectation was. But this time, once we went back for the ultrasound, and the lady said, well, we need to have the doctor come in. Okay, sure, I'm used to this too. She came in this time and she says, you have a mass and we need to do a biopsy while you're here. And regardless, it's going to have to be removed.
Oh, wow.
Now, let me back up a little bit. I blog. And when I was praying about my blogs for the month of March, I expected God to tell me to talk about my anniversary because March was going to be our 40th anniversary. But instead, I heard talk about trusting me. And so I had just written a couple of blogs, and one of them was from Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, which is a familiar passage. And it tells us to trust in the Lord with all of our heart, not to lean on our own understanding, to acknowledge Him in all of our ways, and He will direct our path. When I researched that passage, that word trust is a picture of like a baby clinging onto their mother. And for me, as a child care provider, I thought, all those times I've had to grab the child and unleash them from their parents, when they were dropping them off at child care. And so I immediately stopped and said, Lord, help me to be like that. No matter what comes our may, to just cling onto you and trust you. Had no idea what was about to occur.
Wow.
So a few days before we left for our 40th anniversary, I get the phone call that, they had the results and it was cancer. I ended up having two lumps, two different forms of cancer, but the one that they were the most concerned about meant I needed to immediately have chemo for 12 weeks in a row. And then the strongest of that drug would drop off and I would continue every 3 weeks with the other two, which I'm still doing until April the 5th. I've also had 2 surgeries. I had a double mastectomy because I didn't want to have to do this again. And I had the reconstruction again just a few weeks ago. So it's been a journey. It's been a journey, but people have always said to me, "You're doing so well. You look so good. You act like nothing's going on." I'm not living in a facade of pretentiousness, but I'm living in a situation where I know I don't have to fight because God is fighting my battle for me. I'm just leaning in. I'm letting him do his thing, and I'm just trusting him through the whole matter. So I think what has given me strength through this is that I haven't felt like it was on me. You know, it wasn't my battle to fight. It wasn't something that happened to me. It was a circumstance that I was planted in. But the way my mindset was going to determine, you know, the fruit that I was going to bear through it. And one more thing, when I got that diagnosis, I prayed and I said, Lord, what I want you to do through this is get the glory. Help me to handle it in a way that you get the glory. And I think I've done that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. I didn't know all those details. That's an incredible story.
Wow. I love when you said the circumstance that I was planted in.
Yeah.
What a way to look at that. You know, it's that is so deep. That gave me chills. But to hear the positivity in your voice as you're speaking to us, I'm quite sure that other viewers have, you know, gone through the same situation, but the way you're handling it, or people that may currently be in that situation, and the way you're handling it, and the words that you're using, and how you're trusting in God, I truly believe that you're going to be able to help somebody get through what they're not able to handle right now. Truly believe that.
Absolutely. You know, and it makes me.
I'm sorry, but I chose to share my story on Facebook. And because of that, a lot of people that I've run into or that have run into my family members have shared that they've found strength by reading my story. And of course, that wasn't the intent, but God knew what he wanted to do with that.
Yes.
I think I had that same experience when I saw it. Like, and I think knowing you and having a relationship, it hit me in a different way where I'm like, I was just to look at between you and Pastor's updates. And I think it really did something to me to see the faithfulness that you all had. And I was like, we have to get her on and talk to her. I wonder though, and you both may be able to chime in on this. Because when you said the circumstance that I was planted in, which goes back to what Larissa was saying, where a lot of people don't see it that way. And of course, your faith is mighty, right? But then there are others who may not have that same level, right?
Yeah.
You know, and they may look at the circumstance as if, you know, this is over for me. You know, they take it a very different way than those that are believers that trust and have faith about any circumstance that that the Lord's will be done. What do you say to those who may not have very strong faith or may not have that background, that are dealing with whether it's something like this or just a really difficult time, whether it's health or anything, in terms of how they view it or how they should view it? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because I think we'll have a number of people that will look at this, and many of them are going through really tough times, but they may not have a strong faith. And I wonder, you know, what words could we share with those folks?
So I think of 2 things. One is our automatic default sometimes is to run away from God when we go through things because we feel like he allowed this to happen to me. And he did. He did allow this to happen to me. But if you know him, like build a relationship with him and know him as your daddy God, then you would
Yes.
know that he would never allow anything to happen to you that wasn't for your good. Like he's going to shelter you and protect you from things that would harm you. So when you know that, it's kind of like when I pray, I don't say, Lord, will you take care of this? Will you fix this? What are you going to do? I don't know how you're going to do it, but I know you're going to. And the
Yes.
other thing is knowing the scriptures, like running to the word, which is a living, breathing, active thing. It's not just words on a paper. And so when we run to the word, we find scriptures like Romans 8:28, which tells us that all things work together for good to them that love God
Yes.
and are called according to his purpose. And there's a lot of things in my cookie ingredient list that I would never eat by themselves.
Right.
I mix
All
all of
right.
that up and the cookies come out. They're tasteful. I not only want to eat them myself, but I want to share them with other people. And so that's what God does with those, that one little piece of that one little ingredient is not the whole recipe. So don't get stuck glaring at that one piece. Look at the big picture. Even, every day there's something that happens that you don't like. But you can't get stuck on that one thing and just keep letting that ruminate over and over in your mind that, oh, he said that to me and I got upset. I can't believe he said that to me. That was just a few minutes in a whole day. What else happened that you can be grateful for?
Wow.
If that wasn't some word, look at here, made plain. Talking about that cookie. Okay, I really need to steal that. I just want to throw it out there.
Please do. I didn't create it.
Yeah.
Wow, yes.
You can't eat, what is it? You can't eat a cookie without all the ingredients.
Yeah. You can't make it without all the ingredients.
But you may have some ingredients in the cookie that you can't eat alone. Right. Like you would just eat flour by itself, right?
Yeah.
But then once all the ingredients are together, then you have the end product, which is the cookie that you're able to share. So you're going through difficult situations. Don't just focus on that one thing, because that one thing leads to many others that's going to give you an end result that the Lord has for you, and you're able to go out and share that word with everyone else.
Yes.
Man, that's some good stuff. Man, that's some good stuff.
Yes.
Oh
Yes.
my God, I love it. That was some good stuff.
Yes. I want to ask, shift gears a little bit. Miss Calvonia, wanted to ask you, what made you go into childcare?
Okay, so before we moved to Central Kentucky, I was working in Head Start as a family service worker. So we moved here, and the only position they had open in our county was assistant teacher. So I said, I'll go ahead and take the job, and hopefully a family service worker position will come available and I can apply for that. So one of the first duties I had was to do an assessment on a little girl. This was all the children that came in at the beginning of the year had to have an assessment so we could get a baseline on how they were doing and work from there. And this little girl, I would, say, what's your name? And she would say, name. And I would hand her a book, and she didn't even know how to turn pages. And I would hand her a pencil and ask her to copy, the letter H, and she just held it in her hand. She had no idea what to do with this instrument that I had put in her hand. And she was very developmentally delayed. She was way behind where she should be by the age of 3.
Wow.
So another one of my job tasks was to work alongside the therapists that came in. And whatever they did with the children when they came, I did when they weren't there. So she was one of the children that I worked with. Within 6 months, when we did another assessment on her, she was up to par with all the other children. I mean, her vocabulary skills were so good, she was saying words she shouldn't say. So it was that watching how the things that we did to support her learning made such an impact on her life so quickly that just sold me. I was like, early intervention is important. Early childhood education is important, and I need to be a part of this. So that's really what sold me. And now I've been in childhood in some way, some capacity for over 3 decades.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's incredible.
Wow.
And it's led to a book you have that'll be coming out. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Sure. So, as a pastor's wife, I have contact with a lot of preachers' children. We call them PKs, preachers'
Mhm.
kids. And so I have their stories. I've heard their stories. I've spoken to them. I've spoken to their parents, just generically, and seen the struggles that they have. And a lot of these children grow up and don't have the tools that they need for life, and not in life more abundantly. So many of them either leave the church, leave the church of their origin, meaning, their denomination or worship style or sect or whatever, and go to anything that looks completely different to them. But some of them never even knew the Lord. Like the God of their fathers is not their God. And
Right.
so we know even those who do, what we feel like might have a little firm relationship with God, they leave, they're going to test the faith, which is what they should do, and find out if this is for them. But I think we have failed along the way sometimes, being more available to the congregation and being more involved in church work, that we've missed some things in our own home. And
Mhm.
so God led me several years ago, I'll just be honest, to write a book to parents who are raising children, to help them get those tools that they need to bring those children up where they leave home with a firm relationship with their family, their parents, knowing that they are loved, with the intimate relationship with God, and being saved, and not just being saved, but knowing Him, but also
Mhm.
having a resilient faith. So those are the three areas, those three outcomes that I would like to see. So I'm bringing this is not a book about early childhood per se, but in a way it is, because I'm bringing that background, that knowledge to the table to say these are some things. So it's like pairing early childhood knowledge with biblical knowledge and saying we need them both to
That's
get the
good.
outcome
Mhm.
that we need.
That's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've experienced lately I had a brief conversation with my sister last night that my niece she's dealing with some things. She lost her father when she was, I believe Hannah was 7 or 8 years old.
Mhm.
I see my screen's freezing up. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Can y'all hear me though?
Yeah,
Yes,
we can hear you just fine. There you
yes.
go.
Okay. Um, she lost her father when she was 7 or 8 years old, and she's now 19. But there have been several things that she has experienced, from that time of her father's passing, because she was a daddy's girl until
Mm,
now. Different things that has occurred that her faith is wavering,
Mm.
yeah,
and it's tough. It's really, really tough because she was, raised in the church. Her mom, um, they pray together, and now my sister's like, we need to pray.
yeah.
Just don't ever give up on your children.
No, no.
In spite of they go through their they go through their resilience. And sometimes they have to experience something and find themselves and where they fit
Mhm.
in. I feel like they have to go
Yeah.
through that, because even though we want them to be a certain way, that they have to find themselves. They have to go through that struggle to
Yeah.
become, you know, truly who God wants them to be, not who we want them
Mhm.
to be,
Mhm.
but who God truly wants them to be. So what would you
Yeah.
say to a
Mhm.
parent that is dealing with a child that is going through that struggle and trying to figure out her faith? She's going through that time right
Yeah.
now. What would you
I
say
think the
to
first
a
thing,
parent?
I think the first thing you mentioned, that, that struggle, they have to go through that. And that's true, because it's those really difficult experiences where we feel like we're hopeless, we're helpless. There's nobody that can come to our rescue when we do run to God. I think He becomes more visible in those times. We may not be looking for him, but he becomes more visible in those difficult times. So number one, don't try to save them. Sometimes we want to save our children from the bad times, but it's the bad times that are going to remind them of the word that you've already planted in their heart and the prayers that you prayed over them. They remember, they might not admit it, but they do. Secondly, make sure you're modeling for them. How are you living in front of them? Are they seeing your faith? Or, yes, tell them that you're praying for them, but don't be that constant nagger. What the Lord would have you to do. I can't believe this is not the way we raised you.
Yeah.
I'm praying for you. And you're saying it in a negative way. I'm praying for you. God's going to do something with you one day. No. I think that the battling that's in the spirit needs to happen in your own prayer closet. You don't need to be saying all of that to them. Let God do the work, but just encouraging them, calling out what you see that is good, and more importantly, modeling for them what you want them to be. Let them catch it. What do they say? More is caught than is taught. Yeah, let them catch what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm definitely going to share that with her. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier, where you said I was planted in a circumstance, right? They too have to be planted
absolutely
in their circumstance so that they can see the work of God. And in seeing that, it strengthens their faith. But it'll never get strengthened if they don't experience it.
Exactly.
Because I think I was
butterfly.
Yeah.
We'd never see the butterflies if they didn't have to go through the experience in the cocoon to get out.
Yes.
Too weak to fly.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And that being in that cocoon, that's a constant battle before they're able to come out and fly. Yeah. So, man, that's so good. Yes.
Powerful, powerful, powerful.
No, wow. Good stuff. I am just so excited that you came on and talk with us a little bit today.
I am honored.
No, honor is definitely all ours because you took time out of your day to come and talk to us. And I truly, truly honor you and your wisdom. I think I've said that before, even with just our time that we were together when I worked in Nicholasville, where you are, and just you and Pastor will come by and check on me. Everyone know I hate bugs. He will come and check the mail for me in case spiders were in the mailbox. They took good care of me while I was there. But it's those little touches that you don't think anything of that really stays, with a person for it's been a few years now, but I still remember all those personal touches. But before we go, out of everything that we talked about between mindset and overcoming challenges and child rearing, is there anything that you would like to leave our viewers and listeners with, like a parting word that you may have to share?
I don't even remember what I said when Lucretia asked me that question in the email. But what's coming to my mind is that something she said actually is to never give up on your child. And I want to say not just your child, because some of the listeners might say, well, I'm not a parent, but we all have children in our sphere of influence. And we all have the opportunity to connect. Some people might be familiar with what's called ACEs, adverse childhood experiences. And we get really down in the dumps about that because a child has had so many traumatic experiences and it feels like they're not going to have an opportunity to be successful.
Yes.
But there are other studies that prove that when we connect with children, even if you're just that person that sits on the porch when they walk by on the way to school every day, and you say, good morning, cute outfit. Oh my goodness, you're out here in the snow still trudging on your way to school. You're encouraging a child. So do whatever you do, whatever you can do, and not feel like that it's minuscule. Like what you do, God will bless that. And we can change the whole trajectory of a child by just being willing to engage.
Yes.
That was so good. No, that is so true, because I took the ACEs and, you would think that from my score that I wouldn't be where I am even right now.
Yes.
So I really do think, and I, I was sitting, I think about 2 weeks ago or so, I was sitting there and I was thinking about even growing up when I moved from Chicago to Michigan with a small little Southern Baptist church. And I would go to church every single day, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. And I would go on those Monday nights. They had like the mission meetings where you get to go to the hospitals and visit people at home. And then those times where we weren't going to hospitals or into homes, we would have like a little lesson at the church. There you have like a little book, you do a Bible lesson, you pray. And everyone in that group was probably 50 and older. I was this little kid, 7th grade, I think I was in. The smallest little thing in this church with all these people. And to this day, I still remember them praying over me as a little kid. Right. And I truly, truly believe all those prayers have sustained me all of these years. And just if I don't think any of them are alive anymore. They're all gone. And to this day, I still think about that. I'll be riding my car and one of their names will just, they'll just pop up. And I truly believe those prayers have really sustained me. And I was a little kid then. And had all these people just pouring into me in little ways that they may not have thought about. And they're no longer here. And I still remember that.
That's good.
So every little touch, every little encouraging word you can do or give truly, truly makes a difference in the lives of everyone.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah, everyone, not just children.
Yeah. Every like I'm getting ready to start a new position on the 30th. So I'm trying to figure out where can I put my positive board. I have this little whiteboard that's outside my office door. So now I'm giving up an office to move into a space with multiple people. So I don't have that individual. So I just talk to them and say, hey, are you okay with me moving my positive board? Because I write something every single day. Every morning, I write something because I had this incident at work where it was just so frustrating to me. And I thought, oh my God, I was about to lose it. And I really shut my door that day. I mean, I cried, but after these two ladies saw me, I just could not believe I broke down and cried in front of these two ladies. It was just that heavy on me. But after they left, I shut my door, got my little throw blanket out of my bottom drawer, and I went on my knees and I went to the Lord in prayer in my office. That day forth, I write something positive, and even whether it be an I am affirmation, scripture, encouraging words, every day on my little whiteboard. And whoever's walking up and down that hallway can see it.
Yeah.
So with me moving and not having that personal space, I'm just going to say, hey, can I do this? I don't want to offend anybody, but we never know who needs that.
That's right.
Every day.
Yes.
Every day. Because I have people saying, Larissa, that was on target today. I mean, I just have the positive vibes from people. And not only me, now there's another lady down the hallway that writes positive stuff on her board.
Right. Yes.
All it takes is one.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
All it takes is one. Because remember in the scripture, you had all those that were healed, and only one of them, went back to say thank you.
Say thank you.
Wow. Yeah.
All it takes is one.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's good. That's good. Absolutely. Well, I am looking forward to this book.
Thank you.
We will be sure to have you back on once you are ready to share it and maybe a few pieces from it, and talk a little bit about ways folks can order it, because I do think that you were talking to the PKs. I'm sure there's going to be some of those experiences are probably going to resonate even over those that were not PKs, right? Have those experiences. So I'm excited to have you come back and share that.
I would love to.
And even more excited to come to Nicholasville in a couple of weeks so we can get together. But thank you again so much for coming on. And as always, with Good Morning Gorgeous, we say, find yourself,
believe in yourself,
and love yourself. Thank you all so much for joining us today. Bye.
Bye.